The ETHOS Innovation Center would love to celebrate the effort of two of our partner schools which have committed to all teaching staff completing professional development in inquiry education. Thank you to the administrative and teaching staff at Riverview Elementary, and also thank you to the administrative and teaching staff at New Paris Elementary, two outstanding schools in Northern Indiana. Thank you. We're ready. All right. What do you got? Got a couple of questions for us?
Yes. Our first question for today, it says, which type of data is more appropriate, qualitative or quantitative?
Well, it depends who you talk to, right?
And I think before we answer this question, we probably want to go ahead and quickly go over the difference between those two in case our teachers and people watching this, maybe they never heard those terms before. So I think we should very quickly go ahead and talk about each of those.
So qualitative is quality. The qual is in there.
Quantitative, using your five senses.
Right. So qualitative is about sensing. And those are observations we're making, or yes. So they're about our senses. All right, go ahead, Douglas. I'm getting all tongue-tied here.
Oh, you're fine. Okay, so the qualitative data deals, like how you said, John, the quality. So that means we're using our five senses to try to determine what's going on. We had to use our senses to create or collect that type of data. Quantitative data has that QUA and that quantity that deals with numbers, just number focused. So an example that we use in our sessions, if you're looking at a boiling pot of water, observing that when the bubbles started to form, it was boiling. That's qualitative because we are observing the bubbles. If you had said it started to boil when the temperature reached 212 degrees Fahrenheit, that was using numbers. That's quantitative. So qualitative deals with the quality, quantitative deals with the quantity or the numbers.
Very much so. All right.
So looking at those two types, which is more appropriate to use, John?
Yeah, I know I was always pushed for quantitative, being a science guy and being in college, like quantitative, you got to be able to measure it, graph it out, make tables, all this kind of stuff. But for a good, robust investigation, you want both.
Yes, I agree.
Both. And, if you can kind of split it in the middle, that is great. I don't know how much research has to have that qualitative element to help describe those numbers. Numbers by themselves can be useful, they can be applied, but the qualitative aspect is just so amazing what it adds. Those words that are in there, those pictures that go with it, it kind of adds the artistic flavor to it, which is where there's some things which you can't just put a number to. Mm-hmm. And in science, we've had that happen. It's very true. Example I like to give is astronomers look at pictures. Those aren't pictures, those are data sets.
That's right.
Data.
And I think sometimes we don't think about it right away, that if students would draw pictures or even find pictures, that can be data to support whether our hypothesis was proven or disproven.
So how is that? A picture is worth 3 words? Is that what they say?
A picture's worth 1,000 words. Ooh, that's a lot of pieces of data. So can you find one picture and tell your teacher that you found 1,000 pieces of data for your...
Come on, teacher, get your composition here. Give me a break.
No, so yeah, but I love how you said that balance. Yeah. I don't think there's one specific one that you just need to focus on that. I think it's good to have a mixture of both within your data collection.
Definitely. Yeah.
And then our second question, John, how do you get students to write better procedures?
All right, so better procedures. I take some advice I've given to students. Some are only children, but I say, you have a brother, sister, you have a younger friend, somebody who's younger than you, and write it to their level. The rule's usually down a grade level or 2. Mm-hmm. It's hard to write down too many grade levels sometimes, but that makes it so basic that it's going to happen. You've got to think that if I gave this procedure to somebody, and hopefully they read up through some of my write-up, they should be able to do it not as well as I did it. They should be able to do it better than how I did it. Because when I was going through it, we learned things. And those little nuances have to be in your procedure. And a procedure is something that you draft and then you redraft as you're going through the activity, because again, you're trying to improve the science, give something better for somebody else to use.
And that's one thing that I really helped encourage my students was one, they created the procedures for the investigation, but then as they're doing it, if they wanted to change or they needed to modify something, I told them to go back and do that. I think that's how you improve it right away. And I really, really emphasized how to be very specific.
Yes.
And the way I did that in the elementary classroom, the way I did that was to do a how-to writing project. It wasn't even connected to what we were doing in science, but just practicing those skills of writing procedures, being very specific.
Yes.
And when you mentioned about different grade levels, that reminded me of a task of a time where I would have the students, I would give them directions to a game board, to a game, and they had to take those procedures and rewrite them so we could then play the game with our spelling buddies, our reading buddies. And so they had to make sure that they're taking the directions, the procedures of the game, and writing it in a way that it was clear and understandable to another student.
Okay, nice examples we have today that we didn't have back in the day. We used to have instructions that were translated 3 times into English, but like an iPhone, iPod, if you look at the instructions for that come with electronics anymore, Android, whatever the phone is, it's amazing how they're very simplistic and very effective. Writing procedures is a skill. And going back to qualitative and quantitative, illustrations, any kind of diagrams. I think somebody had asked, is it better to have words or pictures in a previous discussion? And I think both. It's great to have labels and have pictures in there that guide the procedure for the student.
And I remember sometimes when I had to build a cabinet, there was just pictures, there were no words for the procedures.
Yeah.
All right. But yeah, so I think being specific, thinking of others, being intentional, and how you would present this to make them to allow them to do it better than yourself, how you mentioned, I think those are all great ways to help get our students to write better procedures.
Definitely. And one will add to this for us teachers is have your students, if they get good at the procedures, have them put times with it. How much time are you So amazing. You'll love it if you do it, because your students will actually stay on task and they'll be checking themselves, because they always underestimate the time. So your kids will just be grind, go. Like, why are they so focused? And that timeline really makes a big difference.
I love that whole timeline idea. I think it's very good. All right. Well, John, those were our 2 questions for today.
Thank you for joining us.
Yes, and we'll see you next time. Bye.